Do you fully trust the mainstream narrative? Are you on the fence? Well, if this is the first time finding this channel or hearing anything about the previous civilization, get ready to have your mind blown. We are given the St. Anne Shrine, located in Fall River, Massachusetts. We are given the mainstream history, where we are told the church was designed by Canadian architect Napoleon Bourassa in the Romanesque Revival style, with construction beginning in 1891. Well, I have located a postcard from over 120 years ago of this building, and there is a major flaw on the back of this postcard that I don't think that anyone was ever meant to see, and we're about to see it right now. St. Anne's Church and Shrine, Fall River, Massachusetts, founded in 1869, which is 22 years before they tell us that construction was just starting on this project in 1891. Not only do they give us this date of 1869, they also say that it was founded. You do not find your home, you build your home. It is constructed. In 1869, they found this building, and they are attempting to lie to us in the narrative time and time again. This time we can see the lie right on the table for everybody to see. What a horrible mistake by the narrator. It is 100% undeniable proof that the story is lying to us, with a total mix-up, having this 1869 founded date on the back of a postcard that they thought nobody would ever see. This building was not built by people riding around on horses and wagons. This building was found. It was built by the previous civilization that had incredible knowledge and architecture skills and understood how to construct buildings that last forever. So now that we know that this building was founded and the narrative is a complete lie, let's take a look into this architect character, Mr. Napoleon Bourassa. And when we take a look at his biography, the character never actually leaves Canada, besides a little vacation to Europe. If he is truly constructing this palace in Massachusetts, this would have been mentioned, considering it's more impressive than anything we have ever constructed today. But the fact that they act like this is pathetic and not even worth mentioning, especially in a time period where presidents were being born in sheds. This should be alarming to anyone. They say his office is in Quebec, Canada, born in Montreal, Canada, visited Europe, founded the Canadian Journal, doing more in Montreal, Canada, in 1880 finding the National Gallery of Canada. Him and his fellow artists are doing more in Quebec, Canada, then dies in Canada. Where is the part that he throws his cowboy hat on, saddles up, heads down to Massachusetts on his horse and wagon, and works for the shipping company Donkeys Incorporated, and knocks out a massive palace? It's not in the narrative, because Napoleon Dynamite didn't do this. It was already found in 1869, exactly like we have shown. The narrative is fully lying to us, and we have fully documented this. Now, we have talked about the Samuel Hannaford and Sons, and I thought I would let you all know that they also decided to knock this building out, the Greene County Courthouse in Ohio. And don't forget that they were just incredible. Their chisels just moved a little faster than the rest of ours. Beginning this project in 1901 and completing it in less than 12 months. The winters, of course, weren't an issue. They never were in the 1800s. Try and recreate this project in less than a year. It wouldn't even be close, and we all know this now. So we might ask, in 1901 to 1902, we were able to get these projects done so fast all over the world. It was so easy. What happened? Where did this technology go? Why do we not still do this today? The answer is clear at this point. These stories aren't true. These buildings were not built in 1 year. They were found and repurposed. They used the same architect characters for multiple buildings to attempt to explain them away. We lost this technology within the last 122 years to construct massive structures in a year? No. Our timeline never had this technology, and we are being lied to. Just adding in primary features of 4,500-pound clocks that are inside of a clock tower that reaches 145 feet into the sky. With perfection, of course. Oh, and the 4,500-pound clock inside of the frame that weighs an additional 3,000 pounds, and of course every hour, still ringing today. This alone would have taken us 5 years to get done. considering it takes us like a year to get a sidewalk done, and our sidewalks fall apart in like 5 years. This building, on the other hand, with a clock tower and all, will be there forever, as long as nobody touches it. In September of 2022, we have an article in the Dayton Daily News where apparently the building needs our help. We all know that restoration really means destruction at this point. In my opinion, something happened within the last year or so, where a lot of these buildings are being destroyed or restored. And we have a lot of episodes where we have gone to these places and documented that. The Greene County Courthouse will be getting a facelift. Oh, incredible. This fall, as the county seeks to repair and restore and destroy the exterior of the historic building. A $322,000 project to destroy the outside of the old building, which is obviously one of Greene County's most recognizable landmarks. And this next sentence is going to show how old this building really is. The courthouse currently has some limestone that is spalling and in need of repairs. The definition of the word spalling is break off in fragments. Now, how long does it take for stone to break down? You could say that stones decompose over many thousands and even millions of years. Do we all believe that this limestone is spalling in just 100 years? Or is this building much older than we are told? Oh, and of course, they've wanted to do this for a very long time. I mean, how much clearer could this get? This building was not built in less than a year in 1901 to 1902. They've wanted to fix the spalling stone for a long time. And I have to be honest, I don't even know if they realize what they're saying at this point, but they're actually admitting that it's way older than 1901, whether they realize it or not. And of course, additional destructions will be made to the courthouse that they just aren't gonna let us know about. Now, this was all back in 2022, so I'm guessing it'll all be done by now, considering it supposedly only took them less than a year to complete the entire building in 1901 to 1902. And we're evolving and advancing, right? Now, while researching this, I thought Greene County only had one courthouse, which they do, but all of a sudden, I was sitting there with two Greene County courthouses, but they're both in a county called Greene. What is with the AI repeating itself over and over? Duplicates all the time. Is this how all the names were created? For all the towns, all the cities, all the characters that they give us? It's all so strange. So we have the Greene County Courthouse that we just talked about over in Ohio, but we have another Greene County in Illinois with another courthouse that was supposedly constructed in less than a year. So both built in less than a year. And this one is even older than the last one that we just talked about. Built in a year from 1891 to 1892. And we all know that this is logistically impossible at this point. We have gone over this for anyone that is new here, or for anyone that wants to revisit this. There are so many key factors that come into play when designing, preparing, constructing, and executing a building to perfection. You have to have everything go perfect. And even then, knocking it out in a year, over 130 years ago, is insane. It's almost turning into a test to see who gets the joke at this point. Both named the same thing, and both built in less than a year. In an interview from 2014, the Greene County clerk and recorder says in an article titled "Greene County Courthouse Stands the Test of Time," exactly what we've been saying here on this channel. And of course, exactly how our construction that we only take 10 months on lasts forever. It stands the test of time. Oh, it doesn't? No, it doesn't. So she says, we have done some rewiring and other things like that, but that's about the only thing wrong with the place. Knocking it out in a year. Good forever. Very standard work for the 1890s, because they just worked harder than us, of course. Just more dedicated. Less distractions and less code restrictions. Yeah, sorry, but that doesn't cut it anymore. The 3-story limestone Romanesque revival style building will be there forever, as long as they leave it alone. So in the article, they start saying that there were multiple courthouses here before this one. Because why not? And we all know at this point that this is the first courthouse. It's the only one that's ever been here. But I wanted to see what they had to say about all of these other courthouses. So the county was created in 1821. What do you know? They knock a courthouse out in 1821 to 1822. Now, we have talked a lot about reoccurring names. The AI is generating these names and these stories, in my opinion. And here, we have another example of this. The courthouse was a long frame structure and was built by William Finley and another Finley, Thomas. So those names would be fine if we didn't have hundreds of examples of this. We would just say that they are brothers. The problem is that we know what is going on here. It isn't brothers. And I will prove this because in the exact same paragraph, we have Thomas Finley and Thomas Ratton. Multiple Thomases and multiple Finleys. The odds are 0%. There is no chance that this is remotely possible, especially with all of the hours and hours of documented evidence that we have provided. This has happened so many times. This is becoming clearer and clearer by the week. It's in every single city, every single town, all over the world. It's the exact same thing. It's the same thing all over the world. These are AI-generated names, in my opinion, where they throw a bunch of names into this system and it twists them a little bit, making each story basically the same thing, but just dedicated to that one specific spot. It's undeniable at this point. And then you have the classic half windows at the current ground level, where there is clearly more to this building under the ground. I have founded this photo of the Summer Street fire. And honestly, these are brick buildings. Fires don't look like bombs went off. This is not the result of a fire, in my opinion. It looks like the city was carpet bombed. It's just completely wiped out. It's a total mess. Fires don't do this kind of damage. I mean, it looks like the whole area is in the middle of a garbage site at this point. There's just dirt everywhere. There's nothing left. And remember, there was a great fire in nearly every major city. Check it out. I guarantee there was one in a city near you. So, were these really fires? Or were they being bombed to wipe these buildings out that were everywhere? Buildings that we have shown that hold dates on them. Buildings that 100% do not fit in our timeline. It's incredible stuff. I mean, look at these photos. This is the result of a fire? No. In my opinion, there is no way. House fires do not melt stone and brick. It has to be close to 1,500 degrees to 2,000 degrees to melt stone. And house fires simply don't get that hot. Look at the destruction. The ground is really messed up. I mean, what building was in this location that they did not want us to see? Just knowing what we know, seems like it was probably a good one. And just a few more photos here showing the destruction of these fires that started by a cow tipping over a lantern. But at least they switched it up. From horses and cowboys to the stone and marble shipping company, Donkeys Incorporated, to a cow, just rubbing it right in our faces for decades. Through forensic photo analysis, I've found a massive historical cover-up. I started by looking at photos from the late 1800s to the early 1900s. This specific photo caught my eye. Something was off, and that's when I zoomed in on it. The tree line has clearly been altered. It's much darker behind the trees, where the editor got lazy and didn't wipe out the sky. And this was just the beginning of it. Because when I see one flaw, I know that it's time to investigate. A forensic photo analysis uses algorithms that we can determine if it's a real photo, computer generated, or if it was modified and edited. So I sent the photo into the forensic photo analysis, and the results were shocking. We clearly have something in the sky that has been removed from this photo. Before I give my thoughts on what it is, I just want all of you to look at it for a second. What you think that is. I'll also show you a comparison to another photo that I had analyzed to show that having a figure in the sky is not random and not normal. There was something here in this photo, and it's been edited out. It's undeniable. It's been removed to hide it from our timeline. In my opinion, this was an airship. We were never supposed to understand just how popular this free form of transportation really was. It was much more powerful than we could ever imagine. Here we have a castle. Oh, did I say castle? I meant courthouse. We have the Royal Courts of Justice, located in London, England, where for some weird reason, they just couldn't decide on a design for this project. There were so many designs coming in, with master plans, that they needed to hold a design competition, which was very common back in the 1800s because, of course, these 1800s people were just brilliant. It was very simple stuff back then. They just weren't distracted. They worked harder than us. And as long as they could draw it on a piece of paper with their feather, Donkeys Incorporated had the construction side of things down. Never an issue in the 1800s. So the competition began in 1866 and ended in 1867. After 12 architects drew up their master plans, something that nobody will ever create again today, they supposedly had 12 guys in just London that could draw this type of thing up. We have a total of 0 people that could draw this up and get it constructed in the entire world, let alone just London. 158 years ago, according to the mainstream narrative, this was, of course, no problem at all. Very simple stuff. So in 1868, they picked George Street. He was the champion of this contest. He went and got Messrs. Bull and his sons. Because in the 1800s, every single construction company in the whole world has to have sons at the end of it for some reason. Going back to the great Samuel Hannaford's and Sons, and there's many other examples. In my opinion, this is another clear pattern, proving that the AI is generating these names all over the world. Now, just to put this all into perspective, if we are trusting the mainstream story, only 57 years prior to all of this happening, Abe Lincoln, a president of the United States, was being born in this masterpiece. The USA supposedly broke away from England and supposedly beat them in the war. If the USA was that smart and could beat England in a war, surely an architect or two would have followed along to America. I mean, London alone had 12. Surely the USA would have gotten 1 or 2. So in 1809, we have shed masterpieces being put together with perfection. And all over London, we have the interior, holding more than 1,000 rooms that include various meeting chambers, administrative offices, and at least, but could be more, than 78 courtrooms. Additionally, there are 3.5 miles of corridors, and supposedly have all of this being constructed, even though we're told that the Masons led a serious strike in the beginning of the project. Bullcrap and Sons had to find more master builders, which of course was simple stuff in the 1800s. There was plenty to go around. So they were able to get some from Germany, and they knocked this entire thing out with perfection. And it will last forever. And even though there were some issues finding new people to construct this place, it wasn't a problem really. They got the whole thing done and settled in just 8 years. Are you on the fence? Should we go deeper? Not only was this done with perfection, the winner of the contest, George Street, as we have seen so many times before, dies before the project was completed. This is so repetitive, where the winner of a design competition doesn't live to see the end of the project, and they're able to just bring anybody else in to finish it. Doesn't matter who. Everybody could do this back in the 1800s with ease. So then we have the Church of St. Mary, the Virgin Ivanhoe. And this will all tie together, but this was found around 800 years ago, in the year 1220, or 1222, which, I mean, come on. It was the booming 1200s. They worked by moonlight. Very busy people, very dedicated. Lots of skilled hunters and gatherers, without a power tool in sight. Actually, 673 years away from a power tool, supposedly. And of course, the building will be there forever. They are addicted to lying, because it is thought that an even older church may have originally stood here. I'm just surprised they didn't say that the first one burned down in a fire. The church was, of course, rebuilt for some reason in the year 1234, which was only 12 years after they say they found it. And they say that some of the original features survived. Survived? Wait, why are they rebuilding it? What happened? Did I miss some? Oh, you gotta be joking. 4 years after they found it, it supposedly burned down in a fire. To believe these stories, it would take some effort at this point. And I'm just gonna be honest with you. In my opinion, that isn't even the craziest part of the story. Let's go even deeper. But before we do that, I just want to show you all the reoccurring AI-generated names really quick. We have Richard Blackhead and Richard Seward. So we have 2 Richards. And of course, Peter Desroches and Peter Chekapork. So we got two Peters and two Richards. We have more builders in London that like to build with their sons, John Warner and Sons, with, of course, another John down here at the bottom, John Downcombe, where he has two wives, marries both of them, and one's named Mary. We have John Downcombe, and of course, we can't forget about the other Downcombe, Thomas, and the other one, William. And for the best part of this name generator, William married two people, Mary and Alice, spelled A-L-I-C-E. John Downcombe. Guess who he marries? Do I even need to say it? I think we all know at this point what her name will be. Another Alice, spelled A-L-Y-C-E. If you're new to this and on the fence, if the AI is generating these names, this is not the first time that this has happened. Are we ready for the best part? Remember, when we are told about the George Street guy, you know, the guy that died in the middle of the 1,000-room palace project that was done in 8 years, 158 years ago, guess who the AI just had to add in here to try to explain this one away as well? Mr. George Edmund Street. When in 1871 to 1872, he of course knocked out some Victorian Gothic revival style elements and built the north and south porches, as well as a medieval style baptistry. Of course he did. None of that was original, and this is totally believable. Oh, wait, it isn't? No, this was here long before anyone named George Street came around, and he did not do any medieval style construction in a year, 153 years ago. This was constructed by the previous civilization that was much more advanced than we are today. And now that we know that George Street is a pawn in their generated system, it's time to investigate even further. I have located George Street in all of his supposed projects. And remember, in the 1800s, he was doing projects that we cannot recreate today in just 1 year. George Street was supposedly born in 1824. How old do you think he was when he was completing his first building? 35 would be shocking. 30 is insane. We are told that George Street got to work and built the St. Mary's Church in 1848, making Street just 24 years old. And if you go onto this church's website, they say he was 22, where his sister, an embroiderer, heard of a Cornish clergyman and needed a new church built. Who better to ask than a 22 or 24-year-old clerk? His sister, Mary, prevailed to give her inexperienced brother the commission for his brand new church. The rest, as they say, is his story. So obviously this is ridiculous. And we need to keep digging because, wait, oh, are they really gonna keep doing this today? What was his sister's name again? And what is the church's name? Both named Mary? Okay, I think at this point we can be sure that they won't do it again. Right? No. No way. George Street, his name is George. What is the guy's name that is building the building that hired George Street? They're not gonna tell us that this guy's name is also George. If they say that his name is George, then I don't know what I'm gonna do, but what is Reverend Prine's name? You know, the Cornish clergyman who intended to build the new Street Mary Church, where George's sister Mary went and asked George Prine. I knew it was the AI before. I don't get shocked at things very often. This one is just so in your face. It's incredible. The good old Cornish clergyman giving away work in Cornwall. Amazing. So George Street, the first George, the 22 or 24-year-old master builder, remember, he was constructing this 1,000-room courthouse in London for 7 years because he was kicked out of the script a year before it got done in 1882. This is the exact same time period where you have all this chaos going on around the world. Nobody is focused on these narratives. You have all these millions of orphans all over the USA. You have the Civil War going on. You have slavery. You have all these insane high-intensity type events going on all over the place. People were not looking into George Street and the hundreds of buildings that they were pinning on this character. In fact, even if they wanted to, it wasn't written in a book yet. And they didn't have the resources to prove anything. So they just had to simply believe it. And everyone accepted it as the truth until now. 1873 to 1881, George Street is pinned as the man in charge of the Royal Courts of Justice for those 8 years. I would love to know if he was fully focused on this project, one that we could never reproduce today in 8 years. And we have shown the Kleksinski building in Chicago, where it is a basic box that took our civilization 14 years to build, from 1960 to 1974. Or was George so good at his job that he could also get multiple other projects done at the exact same time? 1873 to 1881, George has been pinned and said to have had 42 other projects going on at the exact same time. Still believing the mainstream narrative?
Yeah.